There comes a time in every adventurer's life when they're kind of tired of being the hero and the champion of everything and everyone around them. And, they just want to let the whole world burn for a little while. Hello, I am the Conspicuous Moo, and this is the Down and Dirty guide on how to be down and dirty in Elder Scrolls Online. First of all, let's get down to basics. I'm in Balmora. Why? Because I don't like it. It's in Vardenfell, it's a small little provincial town, I've stolen a lot of things from it, I've had a lot of run-ins with the guards, and so, this is the kind of place where I want to steal things and kill people, and yes, that's basically why I'm here to give you this demonstration. So, let's get cracking. So, welcome to the Randy Netch Inn. I hope you've been doing your leg exercises because you're going to be doing a lot of crouching from now on. So, let's get down and crouch. And at the moment, as you can see, we are detected. This is not a good thing. First, do we get to hidden? Now we're hidden, we can start wandering around and seeing if there's anything worth stealing. And here's our first contender, a backpack. So, have a look inside. It's got a cheaply bound journal. I'm still hidden. I'll take it. That's all there is to stealing. Now, you can do this standing up, but of course you will attract a lot of unwanted attention from other people, and in particular the guards. You don't really want to be acquiring bounty that cheaply, so it's usually best to just sneak down, have a look inside, see if it's something you like, and then just take it for yourself. And especially for you, here's an example of what happens when you don't. Say, oh yeah, I'll have that fish. And I'm now disreputable. That's how the system works. You've now got a bounty. So a bounty, while inconvenient, isn't really the end of the world. Of course, you still have other things open to you, like pickpocketing. Now, this also involves the crouch. Get behind your man, and you will be getting a percentage. Now, so as long as he isn't aware, he's very aware. So this guy's a drunkard, so he's actually quite easier to pickpocket from. Some nobles in particular are very resistant to it. You just have to wait until the best possible chance comes up, which is the green, and then go. And success! We have some Watch House Tavern dice, so that's how you steal things. It's worth noting at this point that this bounty in the bottom right hand corner is going to tick down over time, and that there are skill points available in order to help you actually accelerate this process. So don't panic about it too much, just don't get caught by the guards. Now, if the guard does catch you, he's going to show it up to you like this, and you do have a few options. Now, you could flee, you could pay the gold. I'm going to pay the gold because I don't want any trouble here. Or you also have the clemency option as well. So that will reset your bounty, but you will lose all of the things that you have stolen. So you do have the option of running. If you do have enough stamina and you think you're quick enough, then by all means run away from the guy. The other option was clemency. Now, clemency is an option that you can get in one of the skill trees, which will help you in your thieving endeavors. I do not have clemency, so I either pay or I run, and I decided to pay that time because I value my life. It's important to me. Now, every once in a while in the course of your encounters, you will also have the opportunity to come across Thieves Guild boxes. Now, these things are very, very obvious, very, very purple. Please don't pick these up in view of anybody who might get offended by it. But they do contain a few useful things, like roguish stealth draft, if you really feel like that sort of thing, a few additional lockpicks, and they can only be picked up by people who have the Thieves Guild DLC. So once again, if you have ESO Plus, you have the actual DLC itself. One of the most important things and useful things that it does have, of course, is the counterfeit edicts. Now, these are the basic level. There are actually higher levels as well, which will help get down your bounty. But these ones will remove 500 gold worth of your bounty on use and clear all heat as well. So they're very, very useful if you're stuck inside a major city and you just want to walk away from all the things. You can take one of these and go, I don't know what you're talking about, officer. It must be the other guy called Conspicuous Moo in a Bosmer outfit. It looks like a burnt Nord. If you do need to burglarize, you're probably better doing this in the built-up areas. I think Daggerfall is a particularly good place to be breaking into houses. But anyway, Retherin probably has a few interesting things in here, so I might just break in and see what he's got. Dun, 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 dun. The difficulty of the picklock is just basically the time you have in order to break it. There's no additional difficulty involved. Once you're inside, do be careful. Have a look around. Oh, yeah, I'll have a portable chamber pot. I'm sure that'll sell well. And have a look around and just try not to be spotted by any of the people inside, because they might get a bit annoyed. Now, most of the time they'll just point at you and saying, I'm getting the guards. Other times they will actually come and try and kill you. So now, apart from the usual stuff that you can just go around and thieve, there's also the very, very tempting target of safe boxes. Now, these will show up in merchant stalls. They'll show up inside buildings, inside people's personal property if you decide to go inside. And yes, they usually have some very, very interesting bits inside them. The trick is, of course, is to loot these things while the person standing next to them isn't really watching you. So get down and crouch, Make sure you're not detected, and I'm going to wait until she wanders away, which is about now. And now I'm going to try and break this before she comes back. Now, if she does see me, I'm going to get more bounty, and then if I loot it in front of her, I'm going to get even more bounty, so that's really not a good idea. But, you know, you just have to break into the safe box, and done. Loot it all as soon as possible. You've got to sell some extra stuff, and you've got a couple of extra points in your leisure de main. So as we're sneaking around inside this house, there are a few people sort of wandering around, and they haven't really caught us yet, which is kind of nice. But, you know, sometimes you just don't want to leave any witnesses at all. So what is your option? Well, if you take the Dark Brotherhood... Oops. No, I got away with it. If you take the Dark Brotherhood skill line, you get the Blade of Woe, which means you can creep up behind someone and do this to them. This makes them rather unwell and also gives you the opportunity to loot whatever they seem to have on their body. Now, if you really want to humiliate someone, you pickpocket them twice and then you finish them off. That means that you get all 3 bits of their pickpocketing, so they're not only, you know, dead, but they're also completely without any valuables they can pass on to their relatives. That's, you know, if you really don't like someone, that's the way to go. Now, when it comes down to who I'm going to assassinate, it really does come down to, are you a Bosmer or not? If you are a Bosmer, I'm going to let you live. Everyone else, though, is fair game, particularly the Altmar. I hate those guys. Dark Elf, sorry. You're done, son. Now that you've successfully stolen all of your things, you need to get rid of your ill-gotten gains. It's not something you can just put in the bank and forget about. You're going to have to fence them or launder them, and that's where the Outlaws' refuges come in. Now, these guys are hidden in certain places all around all of the major settlement areas. As you can see, this is the Vivek City one because we're in Balmora, and they deserved everything that they got. Thank you very, very much indeed. So your typical Outlaws' refuge will have a single trade guild person, and it'll have a merchant, and it'll have a bank, which is somewhere over there, and it'll have a fence. Now, Ursula here, you know, she's pretty straightforward. You go to your fence, and you go, okay, you can either choose to either launder or fence. They both have their own separate limitations, as you can see, because I have 1 point in trafficker, I get 110 items that I can sell to the fence every single day. And launder is the same. So, you know, if you laundering device, the things I generally launder are going to be things like decorative wax that you can pick up from the crates and stuff, or particular items of armor and weaponry that I've picked up in the course of my thieving endeavors that I want to keep for some reason. You know, I should remind you though, if you're just going to deconstruct these weapons, then don't bother laundering them. Just deconstruct them. Nobody cares. And there we go. All done. All cleaned out. No more stolen items. I'm off the hook. Now, if I did have any bounty at this point, I could come to the fence and I could also pay off the bounty as well if I so wished. But, you know, most of the time if I do accrue a bounty, I just stay away from the major built-up areas and do a bit of fishing. So, you know, if you don't like fishing, I guess that kind of sucks. But, you know, you can still do quests on the outside as well. Just wait for your bounty to wear off before you get picked up by somebody else. Once you've finished all your work there, you're probably going to want to know, how do I improve? How do I become an even bigger ruffian than I already am? Well, do not despair. Not only are there skill lines in place, but there are even armor sets and armor itself that is designed to help you out in this endeavor. We will start going through them now. So, here we are, the Conspicuous Moo, completely conscienceless. And we go to Dark Brotherhood. Now, this is a DLC, so it's a downloadable content. It is available through ESO Plus if you have it already, or if you just get the DLC. You only have to do the first quest in order to get the Blade of Woe, but the Blade of Woe will pretty much one-shot anyone you don't really like, and then you can loot all of their stuffs. This will not work on bosses, it won't work on guards, it won't work on certain NPCs that are green and you can't kill, but for everybody else, they're in trouble if you get behind them. Now, as you can see, there are additional options available. So, you know, you can reduce the bounty and heat resulted from a witness murder. Don't ever get witnessed with a murder. You get an awful lot of bounty very, very quickly. It's not recommended. Major Expedition helps you to run away after you've committed your offense. Shadowy Supply is basically in the Outlaw Refuges and the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary and Gold Coast. Will provide you sort of useful stuff that you can use when you're being an absolute bumhole. Shadow Rider, well, that is actually quite useful even when you're not actually going around just murdering and stealing from people. You know, you will not be as detected as you're running through on mount, so that's very nice. Spectral Assassin will give you a small chance to actually not incur any bounty penalties whatsoever when you're committing one of your horrible, horrible offences, you terrible human being. Now, the Thieves Guild is another DLC. It is... so likewise, it is available on ESO Plus, and then you can either buy it outright. It has its own whole storyline behind it, but you know, if you're really going to get into your thieving, then I recommend that you have a look at picking this up. Swiftly Forgotten, I think, is one of the most important ones because your bounty is decreased much, much faster. So if you have accumulated a substantial bounty, then this is definitely the way to go. Haggling, items sold on the fence are worth 2% more. So, you know, we'll get into the fencing bit in a minute. It does not apply to laundering, so you'll get a little bit more, not that much though, not that important. Clemency is the one where, you know, if a guard does catch you, you do have a once a day opportunity to just get off scot-free because, you know, you've got powerful connections and stuff. Timely escape gives you the opportunity to be able to escape straight to one of the outlaw refuges or thieves' dens or whatever you like to call them. So, you know, that can be relatively useful. Most of the time you're able to break away anyway, so I don't usually take this. And Veil of Shadows will decrease the detection rate of witnesses and guards by 10%, so that's good. But at the same time, you know, if a guard does spot you, it's not going to reduce that by 10%. They will spot you and come after you, so be careful. The other one is one you're just going to pick up in the general course of your adventures in Tamriel, and that is, of course, Le Jeu de Main, or French for You Are a Thieving Prick. So yes, as you can see, I'm in the process of going through this, and there are a lot of additional options here as well. So, you know, you have improved hiding, so it reduces the cost of sneak. When you're sneaking around, it does cost you stamina. If you sneak around for long enough, you will eventually run out. If you stop, you will regenerate stamina. So, but you know, if you are doing an awful lot of sneaking, I suppose this would be very useful. Light Fingers, I think, is much more useful because it actually increases your chance of successfully pickpocketing by 10%. So, you know, that goes up quite much. There are some mobs that are fantastically more difficult to pickpocket successfully, and yes, you can pickpocket guards, but good luck with that because they catch you doing it. Oh boy. Trafficker. Get at least 1 point in Trafficker because it will increase the amount of interactions you can have with the fence in your local Outlaws Refuge by 120%, which is a huge leap. It's like you're only able to sell 50 items to the fence to you can only sell up to 100 and, I think it's 120, 110 maybe items. So, you know, it's really good basically. You should take at least 1 point, and then if you want to augment it after that, fine. Locksmith, if you're getting bored with the minigame of you know, twiddling around with the locks, then Locksmith can be very useful for you if you max that out. You should be able to force the lock, which will cost you a lockpick, but you know, it's not as if they're in short supply anyway. Definitely worth taking. And kickback, so reducing the bounties that you pay to guards when you're caught. So, you know, the fences can also reduce your bounty, as you know, so you know that will reduce the amount of money that you have to spend there. The other thing that's worth mentioning as well is the medium armor. Now, the medium armor bonuses, they have a certain amount of things. They reduce the cost of sneak, which is also very, very useful if you're going around. But there are a couple of other ones. Improved sneak reduces the cost of sneak by 4% for each piece of medium armor equipped, and reduces the size of your detection area while sneaking by 3% for each piece of medium armor equipped. So if you have 7 pieces, 21% reduced size of your detection area, and similarly 28% of the cost of sneak is taken away if you're wearing 7 pieces of medium armor. So, you know, that might well be, you know, worth taking in mind. It's just a thought, you know. Generally, if you want to be a professional stealer, you'll be in all medium armor because those passive bonuses are rather good. And so there you have it. There is the guide to being an absolute ruffian in Elder Scrolls Online. Nice and quick, an awful lot of fun, just being a bad person for a change. You know, there's not an awful lot of money in it, but you know, once you get up to the high level stuff, you can actually pickpocket some fairly major things, and you can definitely steal some very major things as well. So, you know, it's a nice little side business, and there are lots of guilds out there who just primarily focus on killing people and taking all of their things. So, you know, if you're into that sort of thing, then there's definitely openings out there for you. If you want to play with me, I am the NAPC server. I am, unsurprisingly, called the conspicuous moo. So if you do see me around, and give me a wave and a moo and say hi. And yeah, I will see you out there again. But until then, good and happy thievery. I am the conspicuous moo. And are you sure all these things belong to you?